The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Well, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I can tell you, I'm not surprised in the slightest that hundreds of thousands of children have now been pokerized. Not in the slightest. Why would any of us be surprised at this point? The propaganda pushed out of the 13 and the malpractice media and the pharmaceutical field with the little troll there has been so well orchestrated that it was no doubt that so many children over the age of 5 are now going to be injected with this stuff. It didn't matter about Dr. Madej's work or anybody else's work. And I'm not on the side of anybody in all of this. I'm on my side. But as an observer, it is very interesting to watch all this develop. And it helps me understand that we're a lot closer to the things that the plan is developing than I even realized. The closer, the further along, I should say, we go with the restrictions and the supply chain issues and the mandates and all the other things that are coming down with the IRS and the FBI and all these, everything that seems so separated, yet they're all joined at the hip. You just can't find the hip because that is not as overtly seen. It's hidden behind all these other things. And it's also an interesting thing that today, November 10th, 2021, this is going to be the only day in the whole year that will have, in the date, ladies and gentlemen, it's just an interesting note I'm doing here. In the date, it has 4 ones. 11 for the month, there's a 1 in the 10, and then 2021. So there's 4 ones in there. And then there's also a couple of 2s. There's 20, and then the 20 and the 21. Wow. That equals 8. So if you took all those numbers and put them together, that would equal 8. 4, 4, and 8. So I've been talking about the funky numbers. You know, a lot of people don't understand where I get some of this concept from. But I just wanted to check to see, to verify, because of today's date, if there was anything on the 4-4 front, or, as we described a year ago, the 1331. And lo and behold, look what I found, ladies and gentlemen. Look what I found. Oh, out today in the propaganda media. China is evading U.S. spies and the White House is worried. But see, that's to distract you. That's to keep you busy. There's also China shock hypersonic missile test alarms lawmakers. It's a national security crisis. So we're supposed to, according to the malpractice media, be afraid of the big bad Boogie Woogie Man, China. But what else came out today? There's news about the 1/6 event that is also related to the 1/3, the 13 that we talk about all the time, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't understand those numbers, let me try to give you a short. 13 represents the White House. Go look at the flag, go read up on the backstory of the White House and how much 13, the number 13, is correlated with the White House. So that's where we come up with 13 when we say that. And it's also something that is projected out through the media. I can guarantee you every 13th of the month, go see if there's not something coming out of the White House that day. Now, there is always something coming out of the White House, but on the 13th, there's always something a little more interesting than others. But you have to do that research yourself. I could tell you about it, and it won't make a difference if you don't understand where I'm coming from. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's we talked about a couple other things recently. Remember the Operation Baldwin Rust event? And then in the last broadcast, we discussed the Astroworld event. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, on 11/9, which in Europe would be 9/11, the 9th of November, the story on this sludge report was, "The devil made him do it, blood sacrifice," as they discuss the event that happened at the Astroworld. And notice how the infrastructure bill, as we explained to you in the last broadcast, kind of went under the radar, and they would use this thing, which happened on Friday, and they were still discussing it 3 days later, 2 weekend days, 1 weekday later, about the 8 people who were killed and the 17 people rushed to the hospital. On the sludge report, the main headline was, "The devil made him do it, blood sacrifice." As if they are telling you that's exactly what it was. Even though the malpractice media and the official story is something different, we were, I don't want to claim the first, but we were definitely one of the earliest ones that brought up the fact that 50,000 people do not rush a stage ever. It's not like that. And when people, because it's at a concert, unless these are a bunch of, I don't go to these kind of concerts. So maybe these people don't care about their fellow human beings. But at most concerts, if somebody's being crushed or somebody's being trampled, there's people trying to help them. Apparently not here. Didn't matter, I guess. But the malpractice media, led by the sludge report, was telling you blood sacrifice. And I'm sure the articles, because I read them, they're trying to put it in a light that it was the internet conspiracy theorists talking about this. But conspiracy theorists and theories do not make the headlines on the sludge report, ladies and gentlemen, unless there's propaganda. Maybe too many people caught on and they had to discredit it. Maybe they were laughing in your face, saying, "Yeah, we know you knew it. We don't care. Just wait, there are more sacrifices coming. More and more and more. There's a lot of important months ahead." And there's the great work, the great enterprise has got to be accomplished very soon. So that's one of the things that caught my attention this Wednesday morning, the 10th of November, 2021. The only day of the year, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to have 4 1s and 2 2s. Now, apparently, big news, it's in red on the sludge report, is that the orange man is not going to be able to keep the release of the 13's documents about the event that happened on 1/6. They're gonna have to make that available, and we're all gonna find out what's in it. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen? You have a separate president now, and he can release whatever he wants, and there's absolutely nothing the former president can do about that. So why was there a block on it in the first place? Unless it was just theater to get you refocused on the events of 1/6. Because maybe, just maybe, those events are going to be connected to the next, as the sludge report has so duly noted, the next blood sacrifice, whenever that may be. Now, we still have the supply chain issues that are definitely not going away. So I hope you've all been continuing your preps, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope that in all this, that you've stepped away a little bit from this malpractice media, got your mind focused on other things instead of what they want you focused on. Because the only way to defeat them is to walk away from them at this point. Allowing them to have the attention, giving them the attention, it's I have some friends that talk about frequency and energy, and if enough people focus on something, it can happen. I'm not of that belief, but if you go with that concept, then the more time you give to these people, whether you are just sharing information, complaining about them, whatever it might be, the more energy you're sending to them, if you believe in that sort of thing. And I think the best way is to withdraw from it all. They're kicking you out of society anyways. It won't be long. Don't think that if they have a little roadblock about the 1-4 thing, the 1-4 tyranny, we'll call it. Because we still have the 11/22 tyranny that is virtually like 2 weeks away. That day's going to have 4 2s. 3 1s, though. Don't know if that means anything. But the 11/22 does equal 33, and we've talked about that number a few times as well. And I know some people are like, right, John, with the numbers again. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just saying, it's odd that these numbers continually pop up when certain little events happen. And it's almost like clockwork, like a timeline, like they're confirming all the events along the way. Anyways, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Don't think about touching that dial.
That would be a mistake.
The John Lebang Show will be right back after this.
That's guaranteed, man. Like some good Thai stick.
Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass. For a beautiful shine that's crystal clear, call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's better than the Eye convention.
So another interesting news of propaganda came out of Reuters today. Europe is in danger. Top diplomat to propose EU military doctrine. Now, that caught my attention. The EU wants to propose a military doctrine. Let's see what that's about. And I want you to listen to this a little bit. The European Union's top diplomat is set to warn the bloc on Wednesday that it must agree on an ambitious doctrine as the basis for joint military action, listen closely, abroad, including with a deployable crisis force. And according to some experts who have seen that draft, he's going to present it as a strategic compass for the EU. A doctrine very much akin to NATO's strategic concept. What was interesting, though, ladies and gentlemen, because I want you to, we're connecting dots always here. The line right here where it says a joint military action abroad, including a deployable crisis force. Many people have speculated what is happening in the supply chain, especially with the ships off the coastlines. Now we're having the European Union wanting to build a military force that could be deployable for crises around the globe. See, in the beginning, they were talking as if, in the headlines, ladies and gentlemen, this was something to protect the EU, but it is not. It is literally another UN force under the banner of the EU that they want to create and be able to deploy, probably at a moment's notice, to anything they deem is a crisis. Now, let's say a whole lot of people in some Western country that their supply chain has been broken on get sick for some reason. And as we've seen with some videos of people who work down inside the supply chain, most of the stuff coming in is of the PPE variety, or that's being allowed to come in. What if, just saying, a whole lot of people in a certain country just all of a sudden came down with smallpox or something really bad, and it decimated the population where they needed a crisis force to come in and help control the situation in case they don't want to use the other plan, which is a straight up invasion of a country by the 31. This might be the one of the, or it could be after an invasion. They invade, they do their damage, then everybody's too sick, they gotta leave. I don't know, folks, but that, to me, that is a concerning development that the EU wants to do that as well. We're also being told in the malpractice media today that the stock market could be seeing worse days ahead. Again, They keep telling us the whole reason these days for the malpractice media is to bring you bad news, to bring you down, to bring you propaganda. You're going to lose everything, ladies and gentlemen, according to the malpractice media. Get yourself ready for it. Your buddy Glenn Beck is telling you, get yourself ready. You're going to lose all your freedom. When has he ever? I mean, I don't listen to him very much. I tune in occasionally. But I don't hear him pushing straight freedom. His show has become, oh no, this is coming down on us. And the fact that, this is Afghan Rescue Day, whatever. Patting himself on the back there. You think that ticker would be gone by now, but they're still doing good work there. And maybe they are. But boy, he was sure in place at the right time, at the right moment, to go rescue a bunch of people that the administration, the Joe Petto clan, either forgot about, didn't care about, whatever. You see that video that surfaced? I should play it here, but I don't have it handy. Oh, Joe Petto there back, 15, 20 years ago. Talking about getting out of that place we just got out of in the Middle East there. And how it will take years to do so unless we leave everything. But look what we did. He knew about it. I mean, that was their plan all along. Supply the enemy. Remember? Do you remember the Obama administration? And how they supplied rebel forces, which turned out to be not so rebel forces, but more like a terrorist group. It's like that one goddess, ISIS. You know that goddess I'm talking about. Like that chick, right? Oh, folks. All we can do is keep moving forward for ourselves. I guess part of the objective of this broadcast was to show you there's nothing good in the news. The malpractice media is constantly barraging you with bad information. Some of it's bad news. The other of it is just straight up half-truths or just bad information. And there's very few positive stories, and that's starting to grate on all of us. And as I've noticed with my friends, and now through people I watch on the YouTubes and through other podcasts, I'm realizing that they're experiencing the same thing. Everybody's on edge. A good portion of us will continue, no matter how on edge we are, no matter how much our radar is going off, are still going to cling to the stuff that keeps us safe and feel secure. And some of that is the government. And we don't need government anymore. At least I'm hoping we don't. But you need government if people aren't going to be responsible. And we're at a turning point, a boiling point, a cross point that is being forced on us now because we didn't take the evolutionary step, the paradigm shift in ourselves. And there's leaders and people with great power who are absolutely tired of that fact. And they're going to help the evolutionary process move rapidly very soon. And because you can't bring everybody to that point, you have to do something with them. And hundreds of thousands of parents or children are now being included in that do something with them. And we're going to see what the long-term effects are of this world that we've allowed to surround us and to bind us together instead of being individuals and being able to think. Any person who won't be able to take care of themselves in the coming weeks, months, and years is not going to be around by 2025, because there is no help coming. And even your governments are pushing that along because they no longer can sustain the things that they've promised you. It is impossible. It is out of the question at this point to be able to carry on with business as usual. So there's going to be suffering. I'm choosing, or I have chosen, and I'm hoping you do, to choose your suffering and not let that suffering be forced on you. And that means in a few sacrifices more than suffering. We have to make sacrifices for the next evolutionary step, because the suffering will come if we don't make the sacrifices, because we're not in charge. We're not in charge. So the best thing you can do is be in charge of your personal being. And if they try to impose their stuff on you, that's when you're going to have to deal with it. But until then, work your butt off on improving you, your situation, you with your families if you have them, your family situation. Don't let this stress that is constantly attacking us from all sides, full spectrum dominance. Do not let that destroy the good stuff that you have built. Because in the end, that's all you're going to have. You're not going to have the luxuries that we have today. That's going away very soon. We can see we do not have the opportunity to purchase those at the same rates just a couple of years ago. And the inflation that they're speaking of is so astronomical. If it continues for another year or two, the entire middle class and lower classes will be starved out of existence. Reminds me of how Stalin handled things. Well, folks, that's the depressing show for the day. Sorry to be this way, but we have some harsh realities to face, and there's a timeline. And if you're diligent enough, you can see how the timeline is developing and when the next steps will take place. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Out of here for now. Bye.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space,